everybody. Welcome once and all to our favorites. And this week's episode, because opening up this weekend is going to be a very magical film.
Multi-magical.
One might call it pretty strange.
I'd call it mad.
You'd call it mad?
Madrigal?
In case you couldn't pick up on what we were throwing down, it is Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness opening up this weekend. So, in honor of that fantastic movie, today we are talking about our favorite Phase 1 movies. We're starting
the MCU.
Of the MCU. We're starting way back in the beginning. Back before Doctor Strange. Back before any of the crazy wars. We're doing the stuff that's laying the groundwork of what we call the MCU today.
Yeah, what are the years? Like 2008 to 2012?
It's literally
that sounds about right.
It's literally the foundation, because most of it we would wish remained buried.
I don't think that's true.
I know my pick. I think that's true.
I'm going to go with my gut and not say anything. Because that way I don't lose.
Fair. Well, leading us...
Or win.
Jake, you seem to think that everything should be buried. So what is your pick today?
My pick is Captain America, the First Avenger.
Wow.
Now, I know that it is kind of... I don't want to call it a piece of garbage, but it's not a great movie, but it is a hell of a lot of fun. There are a lot. It's got everything you want from a
goofy, campy 1940s.
Yeah,
time period
something with Tommy Lee Jones in it.
Yes.
I'm not gonna kiss you. That's his best line of the whole movie.
And while I understand at the time it was pretty groundbreaking to put Chris Evans' head on that little dude's body.
What are you telling me? That wasn't Chris Evans' body?
What?
And he just
Shocker!
transformed himself?
All I know is I went into that movie not knowing what to expect, and I came out with explosions.
There's a lot of good action in it.
There's a lot of really dumb but awesome. It's just great. To my mind, it is the most fun Captain America movie that we have.
Because the other two are boring.
Yes.
They're better. Again, they're better. But they're boring.
And they're overly long.
Word. I feel like they're a little more serious than the first.
And it has Elrond in it.
It does.
Hugo Weaving.
Yes,
that's what I was going to say. What
I know.
Elrond.
I'm just making sure you knew his name.
Or Agent Smith.
Or Agent Smith. Or the Happy Feet guy.
Yep.
One of the
What
elders.
the heck is he in Happy Feet?
He's like the main antagonist. You insult the great grin.
God. Didn't know that. Thank you for...
Although I will say that the makeup they have him in is...
really bad.
Yeah.
The effects, too, aren't great because...
No.
Was that the same year as... No, that's 2011, so it was the same year as Thor. So you wonder, were they splitting?
Yeah, Thor, I think, was
2011. I
November.
Yeah. Wait, Thor was after?
No.
No, Thor came after.
For whatever reason, I always think of Thor as a November film.
No, it had to be Cap. Cap was last before Avengers because that sets up Avengers right at the end.
Oh, you're right.
Because when he wakes up.
And then,
the very end.
When you watch that in the theater, you're like,
I remember my first time watching this, and I saw Captain America will return,
Wait. Can you make that noise again for me?
Yeah. Oh, man. I
was watching it with a group of people, which you know them. One of them was our friend, Aaron.
Aaron.
Aaron's listening. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, Aaron.
And
we don't agree with you on your Harry Potter points, but
I do.
Of course you do.
No, that's a different conversation. But it was like us two. Actually, I don't even know if you were there now to come think of it.
I saw this movie first with Drew.
Okay, so no, you weren't there. It was like me, Aaron, and his brother, and another person we know.
Lamps.
Yeah, we're sitting in their basement watching, and I had not seen Thor or the Incredible Hulk. I'd only seen or Iron Man 2.
Oh God!
So nothing makes sense. But I was predicting how the movie was playing out, and Lamps wanted to kill me.
I can see
so
that.
I'm like, because of the opening scene, I'm like, camera's gonna turn to the right, Now it's going to turn to the left. Oh, there's a shield frozen in the snow. And it did it. He's like, shut up. Have you seen this? I go, no.
How did you do that? Like,
I don't know. I was kidding.
like that, but like that part of it specific. There's a lot of this movie that is cliche. Like,
I don't know.
And I think that's part of what makes it fun. But that part specifically does not seem that predictable to me.
The rest of the movie,
especially
wasn't like that, but like I just was joking. And then like there was a spot near the end too. I think when he wakes up, when he's in present day, I'm like, oh, that's not the present day. And I was like, Jared, shut up. I was like, what? Have you seen this? No, I have not seen this.
Were you even familiar with the character at that point?
I had heard the name Captain America. That's all I knew. I knew he had a shield. And I was very weirded out by Chris Evans' casting at first because to me, he was the Human Torch.
Don't forget, he was the guy in like those early teen movies where you always saw his butt. It was pretty good.
Oh yeah, not another teen movie
where they're making fun of Varsity Blues.
Yeah,
I always forget about that, and then Dickey reminds me of it, and it's.
I've not seen the movie. I've seen that part, the banana. When you see, I go,
never forget Chris. Like so many people now, like know him from these movies. I will never forget him for that and the Human Torch. That is my Chris Evans.
Regardless, I love this for all its faults, and there are a lot of them. It hypes me.
So I'm just curious.
His head on that little twink body is.
It is really funny.
When me and Jake rewatched all the Marvel movies in order leading up to Endgame coming out at his house, and
I thought it was up to. No, you're right. It was.
Yeah, it was Endgame because we went and saw Captain Marvel like 2 days before for the second time.
Yeah.
But when we watched Captain America, you like straight up pause and you go, I can see the mask. I can see where his head ends. Yeah. And you're like, what? And I don't even know if you zoomed in or not, but you're like, I go, oh my gosh, there is a frame out. It was really funny.
What year did this come out?
I think it's 2011.
It came out. It was a summer movie.
I'm trying to.
I swear, Thor was a November movie.
I'm trying to debate whether or not that is forgivable for the time. If you could see.
It's not. If you leave a mask in there, and I can tell JQ hasn't been to school at all. He's like, I can see the mask. It's right there.
Hey, look, that's where they cut out his head. That's where the body is.
Hey, look. His neckline doesn't match his shoulder.
Okay, but
they did a better job with Paul Walker, and wasn't that before?
That was after.
That was after?
That's okay. 4 years after.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, that's 2015, I think.
Dang, I'm all.
Yeah, I know that was a while.
Yeah, first Avengers 2011.
Okay.
And I think Thor is also 2011. Thor was first.
Thor was first, yeah.
I don't have the release date on
that's
me,
fair, but... Okay, I was just curious.
The Avengers was 2012?
Yeah, The Avengers is 2012.
Oh.
I remember, because that was a good year.
I think
10 years ago.
Yeah.
I think this was the first Marvel movie I watched. Yeah, I think I watched this before I watched Iron Man. Actually, to be honest.
So, Jake, I'm curious. Really, I want to pick your brain. You say it's forgivable, some of the bad things. What are some of those bad things that you thought were in this? Because I personally...
Well, he mentioned the makeup and some of the effects.
Which is very fair. That's very, very
But that's...
just the way it progresses and the way it...
I'm looking past what Jared said.
It's very over the top in a way that the other ones are not. Like in the way that he is America, or like fair. Jumping on the grenade, and that's how they determine that he's gonna be the person that can take the serum, and it's like, okay, I guess you can say that if you want. Also, that scene where he. Was it a factory that was coming apart? The first time you see Red Skull.
Yeah, I think
like full on Red Skull.
They were destroying
when he takes the Hugo Weaving mask off, and I go, ooh.
Or like, so Captain America's on that bridge, and it's got a break in it, right? Yeah. And the fire's rising all around him, and he jumps, and he's like, ooh. And then you see the fire come up over him, like, oh, he's not dead.
Yeah, I mean, I thought those were fun scenes, but that's...
I mean, they are, but they're like... They don't look as good as something like your Iron Man does.
That's what
Iron Man was near perfect.
Iron Man is, when it comes to effects and that blending, like kind of like what you were just saying, Oh my god.
Well, I mean, think about it. They did the suit in a way that we could believe it was actually a suit.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I feel like Thor came out first because I was going to say Captain America might be one of the first ones to start pushing that button to get a little further out than what we could like believe in. But that probably actually would have been Thor.
Now you guys are stepping on my toes.
I know. But actually, that's a good.
What,
segue.
you're going to talk about Thor?
Yeah.
That's actually a good segue.
Dutch angle. Kenneth Branagh, Dutch angle. It still doesn't make sense. One or two, sure. That's half the movie.
It's to make that Guardian thing look taller and bigger than it actually is.
Probably. Anyway, I was trying to segue because of Jared's next pick. Do you have anything else you want to say about? No? Okay. Jared, what is your favorite of the first?
If you didn't already guess, it's Iron Man, which it's always up for debate. People always ask when it comes to like what I think is the best of the MCU, because I've always stood by Iron Man, and then the last two Avengers movies have really pushed it, especially Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think I'm going to hold by Iron Man is still their best.
Really? Out of all of them?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think why is because it doesn't have a universe to juggle and gets bloated and overcomplicated like they all do now. It doesn't focus on fan service to keep us interested. And it doesn't even have a super central plot that we're always paying attention to because it's a character study. This is taking a very self-centered person who never thinks about anybody else, never does anything for anybody, and you change who he is because he goes through something pretty traumatic.
Yeah.
Because not only is he kidnapped and kept in a cave all that time, but he's hurt and dying.
And they show it too. They don't gloss over it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the opening scene of the entire MCU in the Humvee, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like within 5 minutes, they're getting 5-10 minutes. Everything kicks off. That's what, a half hour. The movie's split into 3 chunks, 3 acts. But like, I wouldn't say the act as much because there's not a central story per se. There is, but I know I'm jumping all around. I'm trying to say it's like each act is a separate little thing. Where Act 1 is him in the cave. Act 2 is him building the suit, and Act 3, which is the weakest, because that's when the plot comes back and there's the villain fight. Which Jeff Bridges is a good villain. I think he gets a bad rap. That villain gets a bad rap because the fight at the end is kind of underwhelming compared to the rest of the movie just because of how well paced it is.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's its biggest weakness is when you get to that point, it's just another big CGI fight, whereas the rest of the movie was focusing on this person changing and also how this person can make this technology. It's a person who's not a superhero, or not like a person with powers, making it using his resources. Because him building a suit is still super interesting to watch.
I love all of
the first flight is great. Just him going to Afghanistan. I believe it was Afghanistan, right?
Yeah, I think
to get revenge because that was the 10 rings, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a throwback. That was the 10 rings.
Yeah. So when he pulls that guy through the wall and just lets the people deal with him, I go, man, this is cool.
Or my favorite one was when he was originally escaping. And the
Mach 1, right?
Yeah, and the guy that tries to shoot the helmet and just ricochets back and hits him like that. I don't know why that scene alone stands out to me, but it's good.
It's just so different from the others because most of them have the central plot they're always focused on, or they're juggling a million things. This one is very straightforward, and it has to be this is how you're establishing your universe, which I don't even think they were trying to establish a giant universe, were they? Actually, the Nick Fury scene is at the end. Yeah, so they were. I thought that was the second one for a second. No, they had a plan, but I don't think it's always a thing where they have a plan, but I don't think they thought it'd be where it ends up.
There's no way they could possibly expect the amount of success that has come from this.
Yeah, but all of its success is due to that movie too.
It is. Oh, it absolutely is. But I think that's kind of what you were saying. That's why it was so successful.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
Oh, I was just saying it came out the same year as The Dark Knight too, so superhero movies had shifted. This one is way more lighthearted, but it kind of shifted into like superhero movies aren't just like these dumb, like stupid little movies. No, they could actually be something. I mean, they've kind of gone back into that direction of these are really stupid. I enjoy them, but because a lot of these MCU movies are not rewatchable.
Oh, I disagree
kinda,
entirely with that.
When
There's
we
like
were,
two or three that are really like, I could sit down and watch this again.
I feel like at this point I've watched Shang-Chi like 10 times.
one for each ring?
Exactly, one for each ring. Like, I mean,
I watched it once.
I've seen Infinity
and that
War
was enough. That was
times.
more than enough for me.
What did they say? Shang-Chi or like boring?
Oh my gosh!
Glug, glug.
I can't believe
That's a separate.
That's a separate
phase.
conversation. I still can't believe.
I remember one of the big comparisons in my head was like the flying scenes. I was comparing them a lot to what we were seeing in something like Superman Returns, because it's only like, what, 2 years after? 3 years after?
Yeah, something like that. What is Superman Returns?
Yeah,
05 or 06?
05, yeah, 05 or 06.
Yeah, it's a couple years after.
But I was comparing it between the two, and it just does so much better at making you believe that he's actually flying. Now, part of that is because he's in a suit and basically in an airplane, but it just looks more real and gritty and like textured and
especially
clean. Textured but clean, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, what did it to me about this flying scene specifically is those shots from inside the helmet.
Yeah,
I thought those did a great way of just grounding us.
The way they imagined that is fantastic. And I think it really, like, no bones about it, it did set a tone. Like, there was not a need to recover from Iron Man. It was, this is now the standard. And it still is the standard that, at the very least, you measure MCU movies against.
It should come down to how good is the main character.
Yeah.
Because you look at something like Shang-Chi. He is not a good main character. I like the actor, and I don't hate the character.
Much.
I don't think he's that compelling of a character. The only compelling character in that whole movie, outside of Wong, because Wong is the best character ever, is Shang's dad.
Oh, I disagree so much with that.
I have to agree with Jared on this one.
Oh my god. I know this is
here's
not about Shang-Chi.
Here's another example.
All that stuff about the mother calling out to
Yeah, again, the villain.
That's so interesting, and they don't really do anything.
They don't lean into it.
I feel like they did plenty with like discovering from where the mom is from and discovering her ancestry and him like learning to.
No, he's talking about leaning into the thing that's blinding his dad, right?
Yeah.
They don't lean into it as much. Like they show it, but I feel like there's way more.
They have to lean into it that much. I
would have rather the movie been told from the perspective of the dad solely,
which they kind of did from parts of it.
We just changed the title to
parts of
Tony. That's it.
But it's not about Shang-Chi, but I do want.
Yeah, I was gonna say. What was I gonna say? Man, I had something lined up, and then we started talking about boring. Oh, I was thinking about the main character thing. Mm-hmm. Black Panther. He is a great character in Civil War, and everyone else in his own movie is more interesting than him. And he's good in the movie, you know. I love Chadwick Boseman.
He's great.
But they gave him not much to do in that movie.
I don't know if they gave him a fair amount, but for me,
that movie was kind of juggling a lot, wasn't it?
It feels like two movies condensed into one.
It's also really hard for him to perform against. Oh my God! Michael B. Jordan. When you have that kind of powerhouse actor playing an incredible villain,
the villain overshadowed. The more interesting character is the villain.
But that's a hard character to overshadow. Which I know that kind of comes down to the writing.
That's a whole separate conversation.
Did they announce who they recast as?
Not yet. No. I'll be very curious to know though.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was going to be Shuri taking over, but that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Well, I think they actually got her back on board. I think she is filming again.
Are they sure that's the right decision? That's her last name. I'm sure of it.
You yell at me for
we are taking applications for Jared's spot.
You yell at me for my puns. Oh my god!
At least try. Yours is just you'll
add us on the
how
TikTok.
dare you? That's not even a pun. That's just dumb.
My humor is dumb. Okay, you should not.
I know.
This should not be any news.
He's a zoomer.
Him?
His humor is dumb.
Well, we're millennials. Our humor's really dumb too.
I don't know. I think you're from the greatest generation.
Oh.
Jared is from that generation in his heart.
Just with all the problematic stuff, I hope. I say I hope because I hope I don't act like that about certain things.
You do not.
I try not to.
You do not. You just
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
We got way off.
The last thing I'll leave off on is how different would the MCU be in this regard if Terrence Howard stayed as Rhodey? Like, just think about, like, I love Don Cheadle. He's much more comedic than Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
He's, they make it a funnier character.
He's so much of a better actor.
How much different is that dynamic? I'm just
Do
wondering
you
how
think
much
Terrence Howard would have gotten his own movie?
I would have watched that. And I like Don Cheadle, but they've made him that funny side character.
I'd be really curious to know if that's a good question.
Next time, baby.
Next
Everyone
time,
has made fun of that for a decade. Just like, next time, baby. Like, nope.
Yeah, that's going to be, you're asking me made fun of forever now.
Also, we can't talk about Iron Man without talking about how fantastic the ending is.
Where he just straight up tells everybody?
And it just cuts.
Yeah, no, that is actually probably...
No, it cuts to everyone freaking out first.
Yeah.
For like half a second.
I am Iron Man. They just all rush him.
It's near perfect.
And people have covered it in analysis videos forever where it's like, that's in character. That is who he is.
Absolutely.
It makes perfect sense he'd do that. And I go, yeah, it's just... What a refreshing change of pace for superhero movies. On one side, you got The Dark Knight being the dark, gritty, serious one, and then you have Iron Man taking it more seriously, but in a different direction.
Yeah, 2008 was a good year for superhero movies. Well, anything else you want to lead off before we jump on to my pick?
That's all I got for Iron Man.
All right, so my pick for the best Phase 1 movie is...
No, your favorite, not the best, your favorite.
Okay, yes, my favorite, sorry.
But that's subjective.
Nice. Is a little mixture of yours. It's a little mixture of yours too.
It's a little mixture of all the others.
It is.
Except a big recasting.
It's not a mixture. It's not a mixture of the Hulk movie because then it would have been bad.
Because it's the Avengers, and they got the Hulk right in this one. I am so glad. Just a quick side note. I am so glad they recasted the Hulk as
Can you
Mark
imagine
Ruffalo.
the MCU with Edward Norton?
Like, I can't even fathom how much differently he would have been.
Nothing against Edward Norton. He's a great actor.
A couple years ago, I got low. I put a bullet in my mouth, and the other guy spit it out. That's just how he'd deliver it.
It would. Oh my god, it'd be wild.
Which is that's a good moment in the movie. But could you imagine Edward Norton doing his Edward Nortonism stuff?
It would be
Instead, you got Mark Ruffalo doing his. What is it? I put the other guy spit it out.
It's kind of how close, but
it's his best performance as Hulk. I think they turn him into a mascot. They make him really goofy after that.
Yeah,
because that moment.
I think that's
really
why
good.
they kind of take him out starting in Ragnarok. The Ruffalo part of the character.
Yeah,
he's out more than he's in.
He was a bit whiny in Ragnarok.
And
I like him in the movie, but he was complaining the whole movie. I'm like,
that kind of fit the tone and fit the vibe of that, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about the first Avengers, and that watching, all I can remember is just sitting down and watching that in the theater. I think I was with some friends on the east side of the state. They were super into Marvel at that point too, and we all went together, and there was a group of 6 to 10 of us. It was a big group, and I just remember just eating it up like this, like hands down, just all of the banter, all of the banner.
Shark Tale?
All of the...
That pun was Thorable.
Bringing Loki into it. That's the first taste we got. Loki.
We still got the Asgardian
wait. Hold on. That's not the first taste of Loki that we got.
It's the first big taste. It's the first him
big
being a
taste.
What are you talking about? He was the main villain in Thor.
Was he the main villain?
He's the main villain.
For some reason, I remember that.
He is the main villain.
The giant metal thing.
That Loki sends after him.
And then they fight on the bridge. He destroys the bridge with Loki on it.
I don't remember the first Thor movie as much as I thought.
The thing is, the first Thor movie and this movie still have the Asgardians speaking very proper. Like when they say something at Loki's expense, he goes, "Have care how you speak."
Yeah. I am actually really glad they kind of ditched that. I get it. Asgard's supposed to be super godlike, but I don't think having them speak like that is necessary. And I'm kind of glad
you were on a roll though. What else were you gonna just go and the thing? What were you saying?
My god! Where do we even start?
I know where to start. How it feels like a 2.5-hour TV finale, and it does hurt it on rewatches, and it looks like a Buffy episode. That's not at Buffy's expense, because that is within the limitations of the medium and the budget and the time period. This is from 2012, a major multi-million-dollar movie.
And the fact that Joss Whedon made it.
I will say that did not age that
watch it
well.
again. It doesn't look as good as it. Just watch it.
Sure, it doesn't look
I
so
don't
good.
like Age of Ultron, and Age of Ultron looks, and I don't think it's better, but looks better.
I'm
than
not
this.
calling it the most visually appealing movie, but what I
It's
think
very flat.
yeah, well, because like
It's a TV finale.
But from what but to me, the thing that stood out were not the visuals. It was everything about those 4 Avengers interacting with each other. I'm sure there's probably more than 4, but I just tried counting off the top of my head.
There's like 6 or 7
Anyway.
right?
Okay, there's Cap,
Iron Man.
there's Iron Man, there's Thor, there's Black
Hulk.
Widow, there's Hawkeye.
Okay,
And
anyway.
6.
Anyway, so those 6 Avengers.
Oh, and
apparently
Coulson. You
I
can't
don't
forget
know how-
Coulson.
I was
He's
about to say,
honorary.
don't forget Coulson. This is the time when we lost him.
The first time I watched it, he gets stabbed, and I said, "Oh no, who's that?"
Oh my god!
Because I hadn't seen Thor, I hadn't seen Hulk, I didn't remember him from either the Iron Man.
You remember from any of the Iron Mans?
No, I was like,
Iron
"Oh
Mans
no, who's that?" When you rewatch, it is something. There's a strength to those Phase 1 movies with him connecting them all that works
there
way better than the
absolutely
others.
is.
Of course, then they just bring him back in the Agents of
I was
S.H.I.E.L.D.
gonna say,
show.
don't forget they brought him back in.
So, and the Captain Marvel thing, bringing him back for a cameo is fine, but man, he looked weird. The de-aging.
The de-aging did look weird. And
Clark Gregg, that's his name, right?
Yeah, and I was a fan of him in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series, like the first 2 seasons.
How many seasons are there?
It's like 6 or 7.
Yeah, there's
Maybe more.
No, there's not that much because they canceled it after like 4 or 5, I think.
Are you sure?
Yeah, but I watched that for the first 2 or 3 seasons. I really enjoyed it, and Clark Gregg is an absolute icon. So it's very sad that they killed him off in this, but I'm glad that they at least gave him another series to, just go and do his stuff. But I don't know.
The movie's also
think-
structured like a TV show finale. Everything it's front loaded with exposition. And it makes sense.
Exposition in it.
There's a lot of talking. Because when we rewatched it, we're like, oh my gosh,
mostly
we had
about
an
the
hour straight of just dialogue.
Mostly if you talk about the Tesseract and that kind of stuff, right?
But then it makes sense because then the back end is loaded with action. But it feels like something you'd see.
And
on
don't
TV.
forget, this is our first hit at Thanos. Like that.
That's right. That was also a moment where I go, oh, who's that? Because I have no context.
I thought that was
It
really
is
cool. Is that
incredible going back and looking at what Thanos was going to look
Oh,
like?
they
He looks a little more like
changed
Hellboy.
Yeah, they changed his look a lot.
He was a lot more purple.
Yes, he was. He was way more purple in the earlier stuff. And I'm trying to remember. Oh, sorry, we're gonna.
So just because it's really funny, I Googled how many seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. there are. And Google says about 7.
What is this about 7?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it ran for 7 seasons.
Ended in 2020.
What?
That's what it says.
And I thought that ended a long time ago.
Probably is more visually interesting than your pick. I'm picking
Listen,
on you. I like the movie. I do.
Listen,
it's probably
okay.
the second best movie of the phase.
That's what I'm saying.
But
like,
I
for
think
me,
it's
not-
What
it's
sends
not
it
aged
perfectly.
well.
I think the thing the Avengers suffers from is the hype loss. Once you watch it once and you're over the hype, it has more flaws than it does moments.
I mean, for me, it's like the first, what at this point, what we've had Avengers, we've had Age of Ultron, we have Infinity War, we've had Endgame. Like, out of all the Avengers movies, this is probably, it's up there. And it's not my favorite because my favorite's Infinity War, but I almost think this is better than Endgame.
They're both similar in the sense
might be a
that
hot take,
I wouldn't
but
call them great movies. They're good endings.
Yeah.
They're not great movies.
But because, don't get me wrong, I adored Endgame when it first came out, but watching
When
back,
you watch it again, you're like, this
it
is fun.
loses-
This is needed. It's an ending. But it's not that great of a movie.
It's
Because
an-
I was on the hype train too when it first came out, and then just as time passed and you see it again, you go,
I mean,
I'm
they're
not feeling it anymore.
but there are certain
it's good enough, but it's
like
just as it's...
just like, Avengers, just like Endgame. Like there are moments where there's a bunch of hype and you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But then the distance between them, I feel like gets further and further. Like Avengers, one of the moments I'll always remember from 2012 is when Ruffalo turns around and tells Tony, I'm always mad. And then he turns around, hits that whale, and the theater just erupted.
Or don't forget that just made me remember the puny god. Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
Like I was crying laughing when that happened. Like it absolutely has those magical moments. It really does.
I still laugh at Loki throws Tony out the window. He smashed that glass. They're on like the 60th story or like 160th story. You know how thick that glass is for like because of the wind?
Yeah, no,
he'd be dead. It's superhero movie dumb stuff that we don't have to nitpick. But that's one of those parts I go, oh my gosh, if the window is already broken or there's a hole in it, sure. But he like straight up throws him through the window. I go, oh, he's dead.
I will say I haven't done this yet, but I feel like I should. I should watch Endgame and the first Avengers back to back to see like how closely they are able to mirror what actually happened in that movie when they go back in time. Because I feel like
it's pretty close.
That's what I feel like it'd probably be really close because I feel like they would try to.
I remember in Endgame thinking that they probably reused footage, except for the parts that obviously weren't there.
That's what I don't know.
The Avengers.
If they would have shot like a bunch of coverage and they just used one angle that they didn't put in the final cut. They could have done that. I don't know.
I bet you they just refilmed.
Yeah.
Because they have all the digital set designing thing too now.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's probably just what they did.
Well, guys, thank you for listening to our episode on our favorite Marvel movies in their phase 1. Jerry, do you want to give us a shout out on all the socials?
Yes. Do it the reverse order this time. I mean, it's going to screw up your little thing, but I just wanted to mix it up because you can listen to us on Spotify and Stitcher and Apple and Google Podcasts and also here on YouTube if you're watching. And also you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram and what's the other one? Facebook.
Here it comes.
But sometimes when you need to have a good laugh,
I swear to God, I will never ever
go to our funny TikTok.
Hey.
Which actually just
I hear that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
I hear that's pretty funny.
I'm actually posting the one for today right now.
Did you not post it?
I didn't post it when I woke up. I just jumped right in the shower.
Was it funny?
It's pretty funny.
Oh, good. On brand.
Here's my drafts. Here is the TikTok.
I'm feeling a draft right now.
And
the fan's on.
Posted. So,
Dickey,
here we go.
Do you have to post about Harry Potter again this week?
That's what I just posted right now.
If you have to post on Facebook again, I highly recommend that meme that I put in the chat.
That would be good, actually. I should repost that. But anyway, thank you, everybody, for listening to us on our favorites. This is I really like doing that little favorites. And don't forget to tune back every week to catch more of our fun content we have coming out all the time. So from all of us, we will see you later.
Bye.